off with, first time, back banging and full contact since, like 2 years now. So just kind of curious, what's that been like for you, and how does the body feel responding to that?
Well, first of all, it's been mentally incredible just to be back with my teammates and competing again. It has been quite a long road, and I don't think you realize how much you miss it until you're actually back in it. And it's like, my goodness, this has just been so refreshing to get moments on court with my team again. So that has been awesome. Also, I have incredible people who found me and monitoring my way back. I've never been in a situation where it's going to be a return to play buildup like this, but that's what occurs after 2 back surgeries and still dealing with some things. So I'm grateful for those people, because I'm like, take the leash off, here I come. I'm having so much fun. I want to do more. But obviously we need to take it practice by practice, day by day still. I still don't have a date where I can tell you, like, yes, I will be playing on this day. Like, that's not what I'm going to do. It's not what my people are going to do. We're not going to box me in for something like that, because truly it is still day by day. Am I doing more and more each day? Yes. Some days, am I doing the same thing I did the day before to see how I can handle this type of load? Yes. But it has been amazing to play basketball again.
And not to trying to box you in, but I'm curious, what do you want to see or want to feel to be comfortable, to be ready to kind of make that decision? Mike said, hey, we'll reevaluate at the end of the week, but I'm kind of curious, what do you need to feel or be able to see you do at practice or whatever to be comfortable with saying, okay, now we can take a next step?
Yeah, I need to see that I'm in 5-on-5 situations consistently for a few days in a row. I mean, I don't have that much time where I can say a month straight of practice of 5-on-5. Like, it's not going to be it. And I do know too, when the day comes where hopefully I can be back in games, like, that's going to be part of me getting reps. But I do need to see that I'm up and consistently building up. So yes, it's great if I can go, 5-on-5 for a period of time and the next day I feel great, but I need to make sure I can do days in a row of that and taking that pounding and see how I respond and feel.
What's up, Chase? Nice to meet you. So, obviously free agency is almost like a game of musical chairs. I think this year's market was highlighted by point guards. First and foremost, Kyle Lowry, in terms of the unrestricted free agents that could make decisions, and also highlighted by the, blockbuster Russell Westbrook deal. So, when you look at the game of musical chairs and then possible fits, the Wizards really stood out. And it was a place that I wanted to go to, being familiar with Beal and his game, matching up, both age-wise and play style-wise. So it just became a fit that popped on the board, pretty recently, and I'm blessed to be able to be here.
And for those of us who haven't followed it every step of the way, just where are you in terms of the injury? What have you been able to do on the court lately?
Yeah, so I got cleared just prior to, I believe it was the conference finals, actually, and had anticipated a ramp up for the finals if, my former team, Brooklyn, was fortunate enough to make it that far. Obviously, the season ended. With that being said, I continued my workout schedule. What I didn't advance to was 5-on-5 play and things like that, because we were waiting to sign the contract, obviously, just as an abundance of caution. But in terms of medically, I'm cleared. Riley, the surgeon who performed the surgery, is in touch with the Wizards medical team as well. And, we're going to have, a detailed ramp up to play plan put in place that I can't exactly comment on right now, but I anticipate being full go for the regular season, obviously, and training camp and stuff.
Chris Miller.
Hey, Spencer, how you doing?
What's up, man?
You good?
Yes, sir.
I didn't get a chance to ask you this last week when we talked, so let's just cut to the chase, man. When you bring this championship to the Wizards, how do you want your dollar?
Oh, let's keep it freaky. Go 100 pennies. Why not?
That's all I needed. Welcome to town, man. We'll talk
Thank
soon.
you, brother. Appreciate it.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Focus TV. We've missed you all over the past couple of weeks. If you guys have been following us on social media, you guys know where we've been and what we've been up to. The Olympics is now over. So both the USA men's and women's basketball teams won their respective gold medals. So now we have the time to get back to you all. This is why we weren't here. And Octavia Wyatt, Raymond Lyons, Cardell Dudley Jr., Wilson Tarbay Jr., we got a lot to get through tonight. As you guys heard as the show opened up. You can get over to FocusTV.com for the entire media availabilities from Elena and Spencer. There's going to be a lot more sound this week as the week goes on from both the Mystics and Wizards. It's currently the Mr. Summer League, so we'll have Wizards Outlook later tonight. And then the Mystics ramp up. We'll get to that a little bit later. But Octavia, I know the NFL is pretty much back. A little to the Hall of Fame game. I know we were talking before, we started tonight's show. I don't even know if it qualifies as a tease, but it's officially started. Everyone's looking forward to this weekend, so let's start there.
Yeah, I'm just, again, super excited that the NFL is back. It's like my favorite time of the year ever. The Hall of Fame game was a complete tease. I need to see more. And luckily, that starts this Thursday. Preseason is back. If you don't know, most teams are only playing 3 preseason games this year and not 4. But there was 2 lucky teams that were able to be in the Hall of Fame game, and one of them is also in the NFC East, and that would be the Dallas Cowboys. Just to give you a quick preview of that, the Cowboys played the Steelers. The Steelers won 16-3. Again, we all know this is preseason. Number ones didn't even play. Dak Prescott didn't even travel. So it's a very, very small sample size of what's to come. I mean, for goodness sake, I don't think anybody made a freaking field goal. It took them like 5 kicks for anybody to make one. So again, you can see that these are people who are really just now getting back into form. The 2s, the 3s, trying to fight their way onto their roster. So it was just good to see football, to be completely honest. I was just really happy to see football. But to go into a little bit of what's going on in Dallas, again, training camp. So we have regular training camp woes that are happening. Some good news for them. Amari Cooper was able to come off the PUP list today, as well as DeMarcus Lawrence. He's also come out who had a back injury last year. And, of course, Cooper came off from an ankle injury. So getting them back into the swing of things, getting them back on practice, they're slowly but surely working them in. Of course, the biggest injury news for them would be Dak Prescott, who, of course, is coming back with that gruesome ankle injury. But he's also nursing a shoulder injury that actually kept him from even traveling to the Hall of Fame game, to also making sure that he stays back and gets some additional rehab on that shoulder. He actually was shut down for a few days. But he's recently started throwing again lightly. He's been spotted throwing to Amari Cooper on the sidelines now in training camp. So he's getting back into the swing of things. He doesn't feel like that this shoulder injury is going to limit him or going to keep him from being able to start when the season begins in the next few weeks. If you don't know, if you really want to know everything that's going to go in the Dallas Cowboys training camp this year, tonight is Hard Knocks. And, of course, the Dallas Cowboys will be featured this year on HBO Hard Knocks. So definitely take a look, get every information that you want, especially if you play against them. Maybe you'll find out some things that you can use to help your team. But again, the Cowboys do also have some bright spots also happening in training camp. CeeDee Lamb has looked really, really good. Michael Parsons also has looked really, really good. So they have a lot of bright spots happening. Again, they're still getting into form. They're still getting ready for the season. One thing that happened recently, right now, the Cowboys are in a joint practice this week with the Rams, and there was a little scuffle that happened between Aaron Donald and Connor Williams. And I don't know why anybody wants to scuffle with Aaron Donald. Doesn't make any sense to me, but it happened. Again, as we know, this happens pretty frequently. in training camp, as well as when they have combined or joint training camps. But moving on to another team in the NFC East who also had a scuffle, but it wasn't during a joint practice. It was only with their own team. And somehow their starting quarterback ended up at the bottom of the pile. And I don't understand how that happens when we all know how fragile he can be, how many injuries he has had. So the biggest story about that was Joe Judge was furious, which he should be, and immediately canceled practice and had everybody running lines, doing push-ups. You know, that old school coach mentality that I love. If you do something wrong, get on the line and give me 100 up downs. Like, I don't know what needs to happen, but that never needs to happen again with him being at the bottom of the pile. That is crazy to me. Again, we do also know that Saquon Barkley is coming back off of an ACL injury. He is doing some light practicing, not really doing too much. He's starting to catch some balls, starting to run a little bit more. He's hopeful that he's able to go by week 1. But right now it seems like they're shooting more for week 3. Just because, of course, they want to be very, very cautious, as they should be, with their franchise running back. If you've never seen Saquon Barkley play, I don't even know what sport you watch, if you watch football at all, because everybody knows what he's able to do when he's healthy. So that should be their very, very first priority when it comes to Saquon, making sure that he's fully 110% and ready to go when the season starts. And they're not looking to rush him back, so he's just doing a little bit of light work. Also, quietly, Evan Engram is having a great training camp. Talks are that this is the first off season that he's had completely dedicated to getting ready for the season and not having to rehab any type of injury. As we all know, he had his first Pro Bowl season last year. But a lot of people weren't really excited about his Pro Bowl because he didn't really have a great showing last season. It was kind of by default, in my own opinion, that he made the Pro Bowl just because there weren't enough other good tight ends in the NFC. So I'm sure he's looking to prove a lot of people wrong. You know, they are kind of tight end heavy this year, adding on Kyle Rudolph, who's also coming back from a foot injury. So he's still in the PUP list as well. There hasn't been much talks about when he'll be ready to go either. So it's been a little bit hard for them to kind of get everybody on the field. Also, they did have another tight end, Levine Toliola, who also tore his Achilles. So they're going through it at tight end. So it's great to see that Evan Engram is able to have the showing that he's having at camp right now. Also, we know that they also picked up Kenny Golladay this past offseason as well. He's also nursing a hamstring injury. Last I heard, he was suspected to miss about 2 to 3 weeks. But they're hoping that it's nothing serious and that he just needs some extra rest. But outside of that, the Giants, are still just working their system. Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes, whatever you want to call him, is still trying to get into form. And, especially with now it's his second year with Garrett as the offensive coordinator. So they should become more and more accustomed to each other. So it's only looking better for them as the season progresses. Going over to you guys' hometown favorites, the Washington football team, who still has not picked a name. I don't know why. Apparently, they're going to wait to see with the Cleveland Guardians, who are formerly the Cleveland Indians, who have gone through this process after them and completed it before them, which is crazy. They're going to see how they work it and, I guess, take pointers from them. I don't know. Maybe you should just pick a name and continue on with the season. But again, this year you will have the Washington football team. Biggest story really was just the vaccination rate, which is kind of crazy. We all know that Wnba just beat a battle of cancer, so he has a very, very, technical. He wants to make sure that everybody is safe, especially with him having high risk. So they have, I guess, increased their vaccination rate. That is something that's being talked about all through the NFL. How many players are vaccinated? How many players are not? Are there going to be different rules for different players? So that's one thing that he's been pushing. But outside of that, Curtis Samuels is also nursing a groin injury. Sam Cozy, who is a second-round player that they just picked, he's looking to earn that right tackle position, and everything is pointing towards yes as a starter for him. So they're very, very happy with that. Again, we know that I feel like the biggest question mark for the Washington football team was on the offensive side of the ball. The defensive side of the ball looks amazing. Of course, Sweat. They also have, if you don't know him, Chase. At this point, I don't know what else to say, but he. So the defensive side looks really, really good. It's the offensive side that has to kind of come into his own. We know that they have Fitzpatrick back there this year. Will he be the end-all be-all? Will he be the answer for them? But not too sure yet. Of course, the closer we get to their preseason game, we will also see. Also, in the wide receiving core, you have Terry McLaurin, but you also, again, have Curtis Samuels. You have Logan Thomas, who is going to be the tight end. So just to kind of see how everybody shakes out. Right now, it's looking kind of even, but you never know as training camp continues on. Last but not least, in the NFC East, we have Philadelphia Eagles, who, of course, it's always something. I'll be the first person to tell you that. The craziest thing is that our head coach has still not named a starter. I don't know why. I don't know how. I don't know who he thinks is going to be the starter besides Jalen Hurts. I don't know if he thinks it's going to be Joe Flacco. I don't know if he thinks it's going to be Nick Mullins. Why he's holding on to this secret that everybody already knows, I have no idea. He's already come out and said that they're going to be running more RPOs this year, which is obviously tailored for Jalen Hurts because Joe Flacco, Nick Mullins, not really an RPO guy, in my opinion. So not really understanding what's taking him so long to just go ahead and name that. Some injuries that they're facing as well. Devontae Smith also did have a MCL strain, so he's day-to-day. He's out for 2 to 3 weeks, but they don't seem concerned. He's doing some light practicing as well. Also today, offensive tackle Andre Dillard also suffered a knee injury. But Jordan Mailata, who has been looking really, really good in training camp, took all of his reps today. So it may have come at the wrong time for Dillard, but we'll see as the competition continues on. Another big note, Zach Ertz is still a Philadelphia Eagle. A lot of people did not think he would still be here. There have been many reports. Is he happy? Is he not happy? Is he over the whole thing? Harry Roseman, the GM, already says that he expects him to be on the roster by game 1. He's at camp with blonde hair. He has his shorts inside out, like he's not really on the team. So it's a little bit crazy. Again, it wouldn't be the Philadelphia Eagles if it wasn't. The latest addition that they were able to pick up, cornerback Steven Nelson from the Steelers, which filled a very, very, very big hole that they needed opposite of Darius Slay, which allows Avonte Maddox to go back into the slot. Hopefully it works out because, as I know all too well, our secondary has been subpar for the last couple of years. And then last but not least, on the offensive side, wide receivers, of course, Devontae Smith is going to be the number one. There is no other person. There can't be. There won't be. But in training camp, Quez Watkins is actually coming on a lot late. Jalen Reagor has been looking better. So it's right now supposed to be Devontae, probably Greg Ward, and Jalen Reagor as the starters. But as camp goes on, again, like I said, Quez has been really doing really well. Reagor's had a lot of highlight catches, but don't forget Travis Fulgham, who can possibly slide in at any point. And last but not least, I wish they would just go ahead and cut JJ Arcega-Whiteside. I don't know why he's here. He's giving me Nelson Aguilar vibes, and I'm kind of over it at this point. But again, the season is here. I'm really over training camp. I'm ready for it to start. I need preseason games. I need to see who's going to be on the roster. So hopefully by this time next week, we'll have a preseason game for everybody under the belts, and we'll get a little bit deeper into that.
Man, Arcega-Whiteside did not need to catch that stray. That said, Cardell to the NBA. With you got the wonderful task of free agency, which was maddening for all.
Don't get me started.
Yeah, people bear with me. I'm gonna start with the breaking news tonight. Dennis Schroeder signed a 1-year deal for $5.9 million with the Celtics. Originally, the Lakers offered him $80 during the season. He turned that down. He was looking for something bigger. He didn't play as well after that, and it cost him. It cost him big, but wish him all the best in Boston. But let me try to run down these names as quick as possible. Luka Doncic signed a record rookie supermax extension of $207 million. The new deal will kick in during the 2022-23 season. Will keep Luka Doncic under contract with Dallas until 2027. Congrats to him, well deserved. John Collins, Atlanta Hawks forward, re-signed with the Hawks for 5 years, $125 million. Chris Paul obviously re-signed with Phoenix for 4 years, $120 million. Jared Allen re-signed with Cleveland, 5 years, $100 million. Norman Powell, he stuck it out with Portland, 5 years, $90 million. Duncan Robinson, probably the most coveted shooter in free agency. He stayed with Miami, 5 years, a little under $90 million. Kyle Lowry, yeah, he's gone from Toronto. He's in Miami now. That's going to be very interesting in the East, especially for the team we cover in the Southeast. Very interested to see how that work out. He signed for 3 years, $85 million. DeMar DeRozan's no longer with the Spurs. He's in Chicago, 3 years, $85 million. Lonzo Ball, same. He signed in Chicago, 4 years, $80 million. Evan Fournier, who just went to work. We just saw a lot of him in the Olympics for France. He signed with the Knicks for 4 years, $78 million. Tim Hardaway Jr. stayed in Dallas, 4 years, $75 million. Mike Conley, he stayed with Utah for 3 years, $68, a little over $68 million. Spencer Dinwiddie, as we will get to, he signed with Washington, the hometown team, 3 years for $54 million. Gary Trent Jr. signed, well, he stayed in Toronto for 3 years, a little over $51 million. Devontae Graham, who emerged with the Hornets, he's now a Pelican, 4 years, a little over $47 million. Rashawn Holmes, another coveted forward center, he stayed with Sacramento for 4 years, $46.5 million. Derrick Rose stayed with the Knicks for 3 years, $43 million. Doug McDermott, he's now a Spurs, 3 years, $42 million. Kelly Olynyk is now a Piston, 3 years, $37 million. Well, a little over $37 million. Alex Caruso left the Lakers. He's now in Chicago too. They came up in free agency, as you can see. 4 years, $37 million. Daniel Tice, he's now in Houston, 4 years, almost $36 million. Bear with me, like I said, it's a lot. TJ McConnell, he stayed with Indiana 4 years, almost $34 million. Will Barton, Baltimore native, stayed with Denver for 2 years, $32 million. Nerlens Noel, he stayed with the Knicks for 3 years for $32 million. Taylor Horton Tucker, re-signed with the Lakers, 3 years, almost $31 million. Reggie Bullock, he's now in Dallas, 3 years, a little over $30 million. Alec Burks stayed with the Knicks 3 years for $30 million. Kelly Oubre Jr. left the Warriors. He's now a Hornet for 2 years for $25 million. Zach Collins, he's talented, but he was injured a lot in Portland. He's now in San Antonio for 3 years and $22 million. Reggie Jackson, it was big in him to stay with the Clippers. They couldn't afford to lose him. He re-signed for 2 years, almost $22 million. Kim Birch, he stayed in Toronto 3 years, a little over $20 million. Danny Green is still in Philly for 2 years, exactly $20 million. Cameron Payne re-up with Phoenix. They're trying to make another one at it, 3 years, $19 million. Rudy Gay, another local product out of Baltimore. He's no longer a Spur. He's in Utah. That would be an interesting, another wing that they added. 3 years, almost $19 million. JaMychal Green re-signed with Denver for 2 years, $17 million. PJ Tucker, he's now with Miami, just won a championship with Milwaukee. He was pivotal, especially on the defensive end. He's up with Miami for 2 years, a little over $14 million. Patrick Mills, he did a lot of damage in the Olympic play. He's now on that. He signed for 2 years, $12 million. Kendrick Nunn is now a Laker, 2 years, a little over $10 million. Corey Joseph re-signed with Detroit for 2 years, $10 million. Jeff Green is no longer in that. He's in Denver as well for 2 years, $10 million. Torrey Craig is a Pacer for 2 years, $10 million. Ish Smith, the backup point guard here in DC, he's a Hornet now for 2 years, a little over $9 million. Maurice Harkless stayed in Sacramento, 2 years, $9 million. Bobby Portis re-signed with Milwaukee for 2 years, almost $9 million. Justice Winslow is now a Clipper for 2 years, $8 million. George Hill, he signed with Milwaukee. Well, yeah, he signed with Milwaukee for 2 years at $8 million. Terrence Davis signed with the Kings, stayed with him for 2 years, $8 million. Alex Lamb, who was here in DC last year, is now with the Kings again for 2 years, a little under $8 million. Hold on, let me scroll down. Boban stayed with Dallas for 2 years, $7 million. Georges Niang left Utah. He's a valuable role player for them. He's now in Philly for 2 years, a little under $7 million. Nicholas Batum, we signed with the Clippers, 2 years, a little over $6 million. Sterling Brown is now a Maverick, 2 years, $6 million. Saving Lee, he's sticking it out with Detroit for another 3 years, a little over $5 million. Trey Lyles left the Spurs, he's with Detroit, 2 years, a little over $5 million. Lou Will re-signed Atlanta for another year for $5 million. Robin Lopez, backup center for the Wizards, the Hook King. He's now a Magic center, 1 year, $5 million. JaVale McGee, he signed with Phoenix for a year for $5 million. Bruce Brown Jr., he's a net for a year, a little under $5 million. Gorgie Dean, he signed with the Hawks. They just overloaded in the front court, man. 1 year for $4 million. Tony Bradley, he's in Chicago for 2 years, a little under $4 million. Gabe Vincent, he's sticking it out with Miami for 2 years, a little under $4 million. Blake Griffin, he resigned with the Nets for another year for $2 million. Andre Iguodala, he's with the Warriors again for 1 year, a little under $3 million. Trevor Ariza, he's now a Laker, signed for a year, $2 million. Markieff Morris, he's in Miami for a year, a little under $3 million. Carmelo Anthony, signed with the Lakers for a year, a little under $3 million. James Johnson, James Johnson, he's in Brooklyn for a year, a little under $3 million. Dwight Howard, he's in Laker lane with Wayne Ellington. Both of them signed the same exact contract for a year, vet minimum, a little under $3 million. Enes Kanter's in Boston, left Portland for a year, a little under $3 million. Taj Gibson re-signed with the Knicks for a year, a little under $3 million. Hassan Whiteside is now in Utah, backing up Rudy Gobert for a year, a little of about $2.5 million. Ken Bazemore is a Laker for a year, nearly $2.5 million. Andre Drummond's in Philly now. It's crazy. It's like him and Dwight Howard exchange spots. He's in Philly for a year, $2.5 million. Austin Rivers stayed with Denver for 2.5 million for a year. Oladipo betting on himself. He's sticking it out for a year in Miami for a little over $2 million. Otto Porter Jr. We know a lot about him. Georgetown, former Wizard. He's with the Warriors now for a year. A little over $2 million. Ben McLemore's in Portland for a year, a little over $2 million. Cody Zeller is in Portland for a year, a little over $2 million. Tony Snell is in Portland for a year, a little over $2 million. Ronnie Hood is in Milwaukee. That's a key signing for a year, a little over $2 million. And last but not least, Raul Neto re-signed with Washington for a year, a little over $2 million. There's a lot more that will be coming. I will update it next week. As for the Wizards, they announced that they acquired guard Spencer Dinwiddie, as I said, from the Brooklyn Nets. Guard Aaron Holiday, the rights to for Isaiah Todd, and cash considerations from the Indiana Pacers, as well as Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Kyle Kuzma, and Montrezl Harrell from the Lakers in a 5-team trade. Washington guard Russell Westbrook and second-round picks in 2023, 24, and 28 to the Los Angeles Lakers. For Chandler Hutchison, and the 2022 second-round pick to the San Antonio Spurs, and the 2024 second-round pick, along with the right to swap second-round picks in 2025 to the Brooklyn Nets. As part of the trade, Indiana acquired the rights to Isaiah Jackson, who was selected with the 22nd overall pick in the 2021 NBA Draft. Brooklyn also received the rights to 2015 first-round pick Nikola Moutinov from the Spurs as part of the deal. We were clear as we moved into the offseason that we would be aggressive in making moves that would improve our defense, shooting, and athleticism, said Wizards General Manager Tommy Shepard. Started with hiring Coach Unseld, then moving to the draft and the acquisition of these 5 players via trade. We feel confident that we have made significant progress in those areas. Real quick, the Washington Wizards announced today the hiring of Pat Delaney, Joseph Blair, Mike Miller, Zach Guthrie, and assistant coaches on head coaches on the head coach Wes Unseld Jr. staff. He said we have assembled an experienced staff that brings a diverse background for all aspects of coaching, from NBA head coaching experience, G League head coaching experience, advanced scouting, and video coordination. So Unseld, we're excited to get to work and implement our systems and philosophies heading into the training camp. Mike Miller will serve as the head coach of our summer league team as we have begun to install our principles. In addition to the assistants listed above, the Wizards have retained assistant coaches Ryan Richmond and Dean Oliver. The team has promoted Alex McLean, the assistant coach, director of player development, with Landon Tatum, Mike Williams, and Ryan Lumpkin returning to the player development staff. Eric Sebastian will return as director of coaching operations. There you go.
And with that, we're going to take our first break of the night. When we get back, quick updates of WNBA. DC United, you're watching the Focus TV. We will return shortly. All right, welcome back to the Focus TV. Cardell, you continue to rest. I guess it's my turn to run through some things real quick. Got the WNBA, DC United. They want to get the rapid fire because there's a lot of fun stuff to get through because sports has been acting up as a whole this week. It should be very, very fun. With the WNBA, the Commissioner Cup is on Thursday night when Connecticut takes on Seattle. The regular season schedule, the second half of the season, resumes this weekend. The Mystics opened the second half of the season on the road against the Aces. They got back-to-back games against Las Vegas, one on Sunday, the other on Tuesday. And again, both games are in Vegas. Just a reminder, it's a great time to follow Focus TV as more media availabilities are happening this week in the W and will return 6 hours following the conclusion of games as normal. On the DC United side of things, no, I didn't see you guys last week, but they were very busy. They had 3 games in a week. They've gone on a 5-match unbeaten streak. They drew 2-2 Chicago on the road, beat the New York Red Bulls at home 1-0, had a scoreless draw against Cincinnati on the road, went into Columbus, built a 3-0 lead at the half, gave up 2 goals, and then scored again to beat Columbus 4-2 on the road. Jordi Reyna scored the first 2 goals of his DC United career in that match. They also lost goalkeeper Bill Mead 13 minutes into the match against Columbus when he came off his line to take away a nice pass that kind of would have started a 1v1 situation for Columbus. He pulled his hamstring in that sequence. He set to miss 5 to 6 weeks. On Sunday night at home, they rallied to beat Montreal 2-1. Andy Nahar scored his first goal for the Black and Red since 2011, and Ola Kamara netted his 10th goal of the season with a beautiful curling shot to put them ahead in the 54th minute. That came off one of the staples of Losada's playing style, which is just the high press. So in a tough week with 3 games, the Black and Red drew 1 game and won 2. So that's went a long way in the standings. They're currently sitting at 6th place, but the point differential between 6th and 2nd is literally just 3 points. So, if things go well, they get a normal week this week where there's only 1 game in it. And then it goes back to the hectic schedule because they play on Sunday. Then again, I believe on Wednesday. But they play Sunday on the road in Nashville. So, DC United fans, you definitely want to tune in for that. And we'll provide you guys an update from Sunday's game next Tuesday. As for the 9-4-50 breakdown, Jamal Hayward is back this week, breaking down a downhill hezzy, the in and out move, and that's going to be followed by our second break. And then Kyle Kuzma had one of the many players in those trades that Cardell listed a little while ago, are having their first meetings with the local media this week. So again, going to have a lot of that. But 9-4-50 breakdown, again, downhill hesitation, in and out move, followed by Kyle Kuzma addressing the media, just a little snippet of that. Our second break, and when we get back, see what Cardell has planned for as a rapid fire.
All right, today we're going to work on a downhill move for a pull-up, incorporating a hezzy, either going between or behind, and then adding an in and out. So I'm going to show it to you both ways. So I'm going to start with my right hand, coming downhill towards the middle. So when I do my hezzy going between, I want to cover ground. I want to make that defender back up, okay? So when I'm coming at the defender full speed, when I go between, I want to hop at an angle going towards that elbow. So this is what it looks like here. So with me covering all that ground here, I have an option to shoot it, but that's not what I'm doing right now. But I want to cover all that ground here. So when I cover all that ground, then I want to come back to my in and out, which means I'm shifting my body here. Then I'm coming back here towards the elbow. So here's how it looks. Shot. Or you can delete the last dribble and just pick it up after the in and out. So here it is, the shot. Other side. can do, instead of in between, we can go behind the back. Same concept where you're covering ground with that behind the back hizzy. So I'm attacking. Now I'm going the other way, start on my left hand. Multiple options off that hezzy, adding that in and out. You can include that last dribble to get some space away from the defender, or you can just take it out and rise.
So we will get started. Matt Parrott.
Oh, hey, Kyle. Welcome to Washington. Just curious what you think about this opportunity and being traded here.
Say that one more time.
Just what do you make of the opportunity of being traded here, and are you excited to join the Wizards?
Yeah, I'm super excited. I think it's a great opportunity for me individually. Just to kind of keep growing as a player, keep growing as a person. Being someone that I've kind of not took a back seat past couple of years, but it was a great experience for me to learn from some great vets, great players, and now I really have the opportunity to just expand myself. And obviously, I'm excited. DC is a wonderful town. I actually just came back from DC. I was there for probably a good weekend. So just moving around, seeing the city, and just trying to connect with things. It was great.
And your defense has gotten a lot better over the past few years. I'm wondering what you attribute to that growth.
Just trying to be as great as I can. Just trying to improve every year, and especially with the situation that I was in. That's something that I really had to do to improve, but also to be on the court. And I was thankful enough to have obviously Frank Vogel did a great job having great schemes, and he does a great job of putting players into position to succeed. But watching film, just having the mindset of I want to become a better defender. And I think for defense, that's something that's going to be really important to me this season, but also this team as well, this ball club.
Kareem.
Hey, what's up, Kyle? Kareem from the Washington Post, man. Congrats. Welcome to DC.
Thank you.
First couple years of your career, is been wild out there with the way the team changed and guys that came to the team and winning the title and all that. I'm just curious, what do you think are some of the biggest things that you kind of took from that entire experience? Because, some guys, that's a lot to go through in just a couple short years that I think some guys go through an entire career and might not have all of that kind of change and swirling around them.
Yeah, it's it's a form of adversity. It's something that you have to really face and take head on. Obviously changing roles, it's tough, especially when you're a young player, when you're trying to establish yourself, and it's much easier for an older guy, 9, 10, 11-year guy to fill in and fit a void that a team needs. So, I kind of learned that on the fly. And, by doing that, it's probably the best thing that really ever happened to me, because, if you look at my career, you look at my first 2 years, I was a main option. I was a scoring threat, which I can still do. But now going through, the type of role changes and the type of environment and culture that I was in, it really allowed me to, I just really believe that I can do it all on the floor. I think that I can make, I can make people better. I think obviously I can score, I can rebound, I can defend at a high level. And, it was super important for my growth. And it's only going to help me this season with the Wizards and the rest of my career.
Hey, Aaron, Fred Katz from The Athletic. How you doing?
Pretty good. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. I'm just wondering what your first reaction was and on finding out on draft night that you were going to be with the Wizards, and kind of what that whole process was like for you.
It was different. Obviously, I've never been traded before, so excuse me. During the draft, I didn't really watch it much. Was just up hanging out at my brother's house, eating some tacos. And then I get a call from my GM, and I already knew what it was going to be, especially the time of the year. So I pretty much knew why he was calling. But he just let me know he traded me to the Washington Wizards. And from there, you kind of get your mind around you're getting traded and moving to a new city. But soon after, you just think about the opportunity you have and going somewhere where they want you. They traded for you. So that's a blessing for me. And so just getting my mind wrapped around going to DC. I know it's a great city, a big city. The fan base is crazy. We played you guys about 4 times at the end of the season. Only a few games had fans, but yeah, just getting my mind wrapped around that and just excited for the opportunity.
And they I think this has kind of been a long time coming for them too, because I know they were like years ago super impressed with their pre-draft workouts, and so I know they've liked you for a long time. Do you remember those pre-draft workouts? Do you remember what it was like? Do you have good memories of those too?
Yeah, the draft process is like the craziest process that I feel like any NBA player would go through, even just trying to make the NBA. But yeah, it was like one of my first workouts. It was either my first or second workout. And I think I had a pretty good workout for him, actually.
Kareem.
Hey, Aaron, Kareem Copeland from the Washington Post. Welcome.
Appreciate it.
Quick question. I'm curious, how much have you talked to Tommy and Wes about your role and how you kind of fit into this, very much changing roster that they'll be putting together next year, and how you kind of envision yourself fitting in?
We just talked a little bit. Obviously, when I got traded, I met with them in California. Just honestly finding my role. We haven't really had any specifics about that yet, but I mean, for myself, I just want to come in and play. It doesn't matter if I come off the bench or start. I don't really care. I just want to hoop, honestly. And I feel like I could fit pretty well with either starting or coming off the bench. Running the team, that's what I've been doing my whole life. Obviously, in Indiana, I played more of the 2 position, but point guard is my position, and I love playing point guard. So whether they start me or bring me off the bench, I'll be ready to play for sure.
Welcome back to the Focus TV. So many players Washington got in that trade. Saw them post a picture of it on social. It literally looked like a 5 you could sub onto the court. Small ball lineup, they could sub onto the court. That's how many people was in one trade. But we got a lot to get through. We still got some time left. So I'm gonna ask both of you guys just honestly know summer league's already started a little bit. But man, who stood out to you guys already so far? Any big names that have stood out to you? Seeing people do their normal overreaction type thing, where it's like, oh my God, a teenager had a bad game in their first NBA action, or he had a good game, he's now a star. Throw every other veteran on the team away. So Ray, we'll start with you with this and go to Octavia.
Jalen Green looked good, and also Scotty Barnes and David Mitchell. David Mitchell, he just brings that same intensity on the defensive end that he had in college. He's been keeping that up in summer league. Jello Balls look pretty good, man. He's been able to score the ball at a high clip. He's been efficient. He's been making the most of his minutes, and hopefully he gets the opportunity. But he's been showing that. I mean, at least in this atmosphere that he belongs. Those are just a few guys that stood out to me. Scotty Barnes, his versatility on both ends of the ball. Of course, defensively, he can guard up and down the depth chart. Offense, he's, he can handle the ball. He can shoot from distance. He can score all three levels. I just think he's a special player, and Toronto got a good one.
I'd say if anybody's been off this screen to you already.
I mean, of course, the obvious ones that Ray just talked about. Because I'm the same way. Like, I try not to read too deep into summer league. It's summer league. This is a lot of these players first time ever touching the NBA floor. So I try not to look too deep into it. I'm sure there's nerves. I'm sure they're just trying to get used to it and just have a good showing. But exactly the same people you say. I mean, especially everybody's looking at Jalen Green and Cade and everything. But I think Jalen Green had a great, showing, 23 points in the win against the Cavs, 5 rebounds, 2 assists as well. So I think that he's going to be a key for them to try to rebuild back in Houston, because we know what it was before James Harden would have just destroyed the whole franchise. But again, I'm just looking forward to when they all get ready to really, really get in the game. But I'm excited that also that the summer league is back, because of course we didn't have it last year due to COVID and everything. So it's good to see these second-year players as well get a little bit of extra help, because a lot of them didn't get that. You talk about Obi Toppin, you talk about Peyton Pritchard from the Celtics. So it's good to see them be able to kind of get the extra work that they didn't get last year. So it'll be nice to see how they're able to then translate that into their second season playing in the NBA.
Yeah, I'm just excited because even the players that dropped a little bit, I felt like the kind of like that COVID class of rookies across sports last year, they went through it. They didn't get any of the stuff they were supposed to get, and at least this group's getting some of it. And I think sometimes people are ignoring that part, like they're being brutal on the assessment of like the COVID rookie class. And it's like, man, leave them kids alone. Like, give them a mandatory 2 years. Because last year was for all of them. None of them got any of the stuff they were supposed to get to prepare them for professional sports. They got none of it. And the ones who, kind of missed some of the pre-preparation, it was even worse. They just got thrown into the fire. All right. In terms of some questions, Cardell sent a few over. Octavia, let's go ahead and get into it. Why not, right? New Laker Carmelo Anthony. Braun told me the time is now. Most people would say we should have gotten together years ago, early in our career, but we were on 2 different paths. It just felt like right now was the best time. Anthony said he and James have known each other since high school and were part of the star-studded 2003 draft class. James went first overall to Cleveland Cavaliers at high school, while Anthony was the 3rd pick of the Denver Nuggets after leading Syracuse to its first NCAA title. Braun came to me and said the time is now. We have to make it happen. I took my time with it and weighed my options, said Anthony. So that Lakers jersey or not, Octavia? I'm just going to jump straight to that.
I'm going to tell you right now, I've been dreading this question. I have friends who are all like, what are you going to do? Like, I legitimately have a friend, and he's like, I'm buying you a Melo jersey. I was like, don't waste your money. So I promise you, I'm not wearing it. I'm sorry. I understand it. Yes, I get it. He wants a ring. This is what he wants to do. I knew it was kind of inevitable, but I just kept trying to just hold out faith that, like, no, he's not going to do it, because I don't know. Like, I just don't like when players do this. Like, I get it, and I know that LeBron started this whole era of teaming up so we can make sure that somebody gets a ring. I get it, but I feel like that it was a good fit where he was already at. I honestly felt like he was in a good fit. I get that maybe Portland wasn't putting together enough pieces for them to actually be title contenders. They've made the playoffs the last couple of years, but they can't seem to get out the first round. So I understand it in that aspect, and I understand it the fact that he's 37, and that he doesn't have much time left. So I get it. Do I think it's going to happen? No. LeBron can say whatever he wants. Mark this down on your calendar. Y'all talking about how old we are. Yes, we're talking about how old all of you are. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think there's too many people at this point. There's just too many ball dominant people in one place, in my opinion, and I just don't think it's gonna work. I think he would have been better off staying in Portland and maybe talk to them about getting some additional pieces. Because honestly, I don't feel like Portland has done enough in the free agency. The couple of people that they've added, I don't really feel like it's been great. I do agree with the re-signing of Norman Powell. I think he was a keystone for them to keep, but I don't like it. And everybody knows that I'm a Melo fan, diehard, and that I will be completely open with you that every team that he's played for, I've rooted for that team. I'm not even going to lie to y'all. I'm not going to hold you, but it will not be this one. It will legitimately. I hope he does well. Like I told my friend, I said, I hope Melo drops 30, and I hope y'all lose by 31. Like I just can't get with it. I'm sorry. It's not in me. It's not in me. So.
Ray, did you want to chime in, or do you want to try to follow that up?
Nah, they can have fun with that, man. It's going to be interesting to see how all that works. Enjoy.
Sorry. Ray, with the politician-like approach to this one, he's gonna leave that alone till the season starts.
I don't blame you. I almost thought about boycotting the season. I was like, I should just boycott the season. Go write a letter.
So everything was fine, but this was too far. This was the.
It was too much.
This was the straw.
It was too much. I was like, where is David Stern when you need him? Rest in peace.
Oh my God.
Where is he when you need him? Get the blocking some trades out here, but whatever.
We're gonna end on this one. Similar thing, different sport. As old, still kind of. This guy's closer to his prime than Melo is. Not a knock on Melo at all. But Messi has become a brand new chapter. His legendary career at the age of 34. PSG announced on Tuesday that the Argentine great has signed a 2-year, $104 million contract. He took a pay cut from what he was making at Barcelona. Just want to settle that in. To join forces with Neymar, Mbappe, Di Maria, and Sergio Ramos. Messi and his family arrived in Paris to something of a hero's welcome, perhaps bordering pandemonium in the French capital on Tuesday. Messi's going to wear number 30. It's the number he wore when he made his professional debut back in 2004 at PSG. The Evening Standard previously reported that Neymar, who currently wears the number 10, offered the talismanic shirt to his dear friend, but Messi declined. Just you guys' thoughts on 3 of the world's greatest attackers joining forces on one team, where it's up to this wonderful manager to decide how he wants to deploy these folks. But again, that's Neymar, Mbappe, and Messi. Whoever wants to jump in, whatever. Yeah.
I mean, he might as well just draw a straw at the end of the day, because it's just like, somebody go out there and do it, because you have legitimately any of 3 of them can do it. I just thought it was kind of sad, watching his press conference about how he really didn't want to leave. So, like, that was the only thing that kind of stood out to me. Like, he legitimately came out and said, like, I didn't want to leave. I tried to take a pay cut. I tried to do whatever I could to stay. So in the back of my head, like, when he's coming to, I'm like, okay, I don't really want to come here, but I'm here. But even though I think he's a professional, so it won't be anything like that. But it's just kind of sad to see that somebody that really wanted to stay where they were, weren't able to do that. But then for them to go somewhere and team up with the likes of Neymar, like, it's just ridiculous at this point. Like, I don't know what's going on in the world of soccer and who is making these decisions. The pay cut should have been good enough. I don't know.
Man, fun times for the person who just fun times. Management, right? Gotta love it. Ray, your thoughts on these guys getting together?
Hey man, if he's not going to be in Barcelona where he wanted to be, I don't think he's where he ended up. For transparency, man, I'm not the biggest soccer fan, but the fact that I know who all these people are and they're on the same team, that can't be good for the opposition.
But you know what? I'm happy you said that, because like let that settle in. Like for folks that don't follow it consistently like that, those 3 names everybody knows, whether you like it or not.
Yep.
You done heard of Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe. Like, you've heard of them. And we're not going to get to the rest of the star study.
Who did this?
But you've heard of all of them. And shout out to just people making decisions, man. And, Barcelona, I wish you the best. This is something you had to deal with, because it's not the whole – again, I hate to be going back to the Melo thing. he's not on that side of his career. So, you know, to each their own. Congratulations. I know PSG's happy that if you weren't selling enough jerseys already, I'm sure Jordan Brand's happy because their logos on their kits as well. Fun times. I shared the video, one of the video PSG put it out earlier today in the group chat with Ray and Cardell. It was like a 2-minute production. Like that drone, that was like the drone. It was like the high end of all drones. that little montage or what have you for that Twitter clip, man. But again, I want to thank you guys for hanging with us. For those of you Wizards fans that stay up tonight to watch Summer League game, join for Wizards Outlook. 15, 20 minutes after the game, for a take. And then remind you to get over to DCTV, watch the show every Friday night at 7 p.m. And don't forget to check DCTV's website, it's dctv.org, to see when the show re-airs. They added a third day. So now you can catch this week's show in some shape, form, or fashion Friday, Saturday, and Sunday before we see you again next week for a new episode. So again, get over to focustv.com. Thank you all for tuning in. We're happy to be back, and see you guys soon.